Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about screws. I'm going to show some examples of different types of nails and some of the fasteners that you may run into while you're building with wood. Okay, so let's talk about different types of fasteners first. Okay, so this fastener right here, you see that it kind of a bend in it. This is called, well, I call it a hurricane clip. It's attached to, one side is attached to the top plate and the other side is attached to the rafter, and it's designed to keep your rafters on in high wind. Okay, so that would be a hurricane clip, that's what I call it. Good, next one is a joist hanger. Now this is a single joist hanger for a 2x6. You can get these things for 2x4 singles, and you can get them all the way up to 2x12 trebles and triples. Okay, these are designed to help support a floor joist or something that butts into a header joist. Give it some extra support instead of just a couple of nails through the end. Okay, some of them are just go butt up against it. Some will hook over the top. You nail them down from the top for extra holding power, but this is a joist hanger. Okay, the next one is this little clip right here. It's an H clip, or I call it a rafter clip. What it is used for is when you're decking a roof, in between the 2-foot rafters, you put this clip that keeps the plywood, the OSB or plywood, from one sheet going up and one going down. Okay, so that's an H clip, or I call it a rafter clip. Next one is a brick clip. If you're doing a house that's going to get bricked, they may ask you to put these on. All you do is nail them on through one of the holes, and then when the masons come, they'll bend them into their mortar joint to help the brick from falling away from the house. So that is a brick clip. Okay, moving on to some anchors. This right here is a galvanized anchor bolt. So this would be placed into the wet concrete, and then it would hold down your mud sill, as somebody call it, or sill. It'll hold. This is what attaches the masonry part of your house to the wood part of your house. Okay, so that would be an anchor bolt. They do come in steel and galvanized, so you might want to choose them wisely. Okay, next one is a type of screw, but it's also an anchor. This is a lag screw. Alright, so it's used to attach and attach things together. It'd be like two boards flat together. You would not use this where you have a T where a floor joist is running into a header joist. These would not be used for that. These would be where the two boards are flat against each other. Okay. Now for some other types of masonry anchors. This one is a sleeve anchor. So you drill a hole into the concrete, and then you drop this in there, and then you hit this pin, and the bottom expands to hold this in here. Then you have the nut on there to be able to fasten something on a board or whatever you're going to fasten on. So that's one type of a masonry anchor. Another one is this type of sleeve anchor. Same thing, you have to drill a hole, you drop this in there, and as you turn this, the bottom expands and pushes out, which holds the anchor in place. Okay, so these would both be used for masonry. Okay. The next one is a drywall anchor. So this is a drywall anchor. They are used, they kind of self-tapping. They got a little cutting head on them, and then you can use a Phillips screwdriver bit with a drill, and you can just drill these into the hole, into the drywall. You don't have to drill a hole first. they're self-tapping, so they'll drill their own hole. They come in, this one's a metal one, they do have them in plastic. Okay, so that is a drywall anchor. Then they have a molly bolt. A molly bolt is another expandable bolt, so you drill a hole through the drywall and then stick the molly bolt in there and then screw it, and then the center it flattens out so it grabs the back side of the drywall so it doesn't come out, and then you can use whatever you're using the front for. So that is a molly bolt. Then you have the old reliable toggle bolt. It's just a threaded bolt with this toggle on it. The toggle pinches. You have to drill. The trouble with this one is you have to drill a hole large enough to get this toggle through it. And then once it's through, it pops open, and then you can tighten it and it pulls up against the back of the drywall. So this is a toggle bolt. Another type of anchor is this one. This one's a metal sleeve anchor. You just have to drill a hole, drop this anchor in, and then it will catch your screw or your bolt as you screw it in. So that is a sleeve anchor. Okay, other ways to fasten concrete down would be a cut nail. So there's a cut nail. The reason they call it a cut nail is just cut out of a piece of steel, and then it's flat on the top, flat on the bottom. You drive it in, attach your wood to your concrete. This is another type of masonry nail. This one has flutes on it with a point, so you drive that same thing, you drive it in. So you attach wood to a concrete. Okay? So let's talk about screws, some other types of screws. All right, so here's these blue ones. All right, this one has a hex head with a Phillips head. If they're blue, they're what they call tapcons. What they do with these is you have to drill the hole with a masonry bit into the concrete, and then you don't need a sleeve for this one. The threads in this one will catch by the sides of the hole into the concrete. So no sleeve or anchor is necessary with these small blue, or these blue ones. These are called tapcons. Okay. You have this self-tapping. This is a sheet metal screw. It's self-tapping, so it'll cut its way through the metal, and then it has a rubber grommet on it to seal the hole. So when you put these on, make sure you do not over squeeze this grommet. You do not want the water to get in there because the grommet's been smashed too far. So make sure the grommet doesn't get smashed. And again, this one's a hex head, so these work really good with a nut driver. You can self-tapping screws. Okay. Let's talk about sheet drywall screws. All right, there's several different kinds of drywall screws. These are coarse thread. The coarse thread drywall screws are used for wood. So I think this one's called a type W for wood. Coarse thread is for attaching drywall to a wooden stud. Then you have the fine thread drywall screw. This one is self-tapping, so it is used for metal studs. So this will attach drywall to metal studs. Okay, and then you got the one that's in between, so you can attach either or metal or wood with this one. Now, do not use drywall screws to fasten subfloor or decking or sheeting. These are not the correct screws for that. The heads will shear off too easily for that purpose. So do not use them except for attaching drywall. Okay. If you're doing metal studs, you're going to have to use these pan heads. This is a self-tapping pan head, 7/16 pan head for metal studs. Okay, it's a very tiny pan head screw, self-tapping. Okay. Let's talk about Torx screws. Now you see a lot of people today that are using Torx screws for a lot of different things. Now, most Torx screws, these colors ones like here, they are not designed for structural purposes, okay? So you don't want to fasten a floor joist to a header joist with these screws. That's not what they're designed for. Okay, so these are not designed for structural purposes. Now, if you want to screw two boards together flat like this, that's fine. The thing you have to worry is that they're not designed for structural purposes. So they're good for attaching something to something else. The other thing is you have to be careful. Some of them, they're not designed for green treated lumber, and so in some cases they're not designed for cedar lumber. So you wouldn't want to use these around the pool. So you have to be very specific where you use them. So as an example, you see this screw right here. This is one of these Torx screws that was put into a green treated deck. Okay. If you try to guess how old this was, you'd probably get it wrong, because this screw was only in that deck about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and it's already eaten halfway through it. Okay, so these are not, they're not designed for green treated lumber. They're not designed, like these zinc coated ones are not designed for really wet areas because they will rust, and even these are not designed for green treated material because of the acidity. You have to get stainless steel or some other type of screw if you're going to do that. So these three right here are usually not designed for that kind of stuff. So you have to read the box when you buy these. Read the box carefully to make sure that they will suit the purpose that you're going to use them for. Okay. All right. In a previous video I talked about nails, different types of nails, but I didn't show an example of the nail. So I'm going to really quick, I'm going to show different types of examples of nails that I talked about in the other video. These are T-nails, where they're really close together, or clipped head nails. So you can see where the head is offset, so each individual one can be driven down. These then are full head nails, where they're separated from each other so that the full head can still be on there. Right here, I've got a bunch of 16 penny nails of different types. We got the duplex nail with the two heads on it, so you can see the two heads. We've got a galvanized ring shank. It's got a waffle head, so it's a sinker. We have the skinny one, which is the box nail. We have a galvanized 16, which is again probably a box nail. We have the sinker with its waffle head and green treated, and then we have the common, which is the smooth head, big fat nail. Those are all different types of 16 penny nails. Okay. I do have a 20 gauge or 20D nail, which is this 4-inch nail, and I got a 60D nail, which is this 6-inch galvanized ring shank. Okay. A few other type of nails. We've got this little nail here. This is for joist hanger nails, or like the hurricane clips. You use all these little nails. You got the ones with the big heads on them for the roofing nails. Some roofing nails are longer. This one's got longer and it's got ring shanks on it. Here's a sheet metal nail because it's got the rubber grommet on it. Okay. You got your twist shanks for if you're doing subfloor or something, you want to use nails. These would be a good thing to use. Or underlayment. Got this one little divot on it, which is the drywall nail. So it's just a little tiny, looks like a golf tee. You have your casing nail with your V-shape, galvanized, so it's used for outside. You got your finish nail with the barrel-shaped head for inside. And the last one I got is this little colored aluminum wire nail that would be used for like aluminum fascia or aluminum siding. Okay, so those are different types of nails, screws, and fasteners So make sure, again, when you're doing a job, do your homework, make sure you're using the correct tools, the correct nails and fasteners, and make sure you're following codes if you're in an area where you should follow the codes. So, so that would be screws, nails, and fasteners. So, any questions, put them down there in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. Otherwise, happy building.